Hi guys, it's Blue. I just wanted to make a video on how to do Mwit predictions. I have a few different pairs picked out so I can show you a few different situations that you'll run into when you're doing Mwit predictions. So I'm just going to start out with my first pair here. This one is two customs that have all dominant markings, and none of the markings are shared. So they don't have any of the same markings. The way I like to set it up is I have my custom generator here in the middle. I put my female on the left side here and the male on the right side. That's just how I like to do it. One thing that you're going to want is a color mixer. So if you just Google color mixer, a few of them will pop up. My favorite is this Web color mixer. You have to scroll down a little bit in the Google results to get to it, but this one's my favorite. So when you're going to do a Mwit prediction, first you're going to want to look at the Mwit breeds, see if they're compatible, and these ones are. We have a Munchkin and an Earth. So the Mwit can be either a Munchkin or an Earth. So I'm just going to set this to Munchkin here. Now when you're looking at the base color and the secondary, tertiary, and eye color here, all of those can be either the mothers, the fathers, or it can be a mix. So if you wanted to see what it looked like with mixed colors, you can just use your color mixer, just copy and paste it. And I'm going to put one midpoint and blend, and then this one in the middle is going to be your mixed color. So I would just put that in the base there. When I'm doing Mwit predictions really quick though, what I like to do is just go back and forth. Starting with the female's color, I would just put her base color in, and then I would do the male's secondary, and then the female's tertiary, and male's eye color. That's just if I'm doing it really quick and I don't care that much about how the mixed colors would look. So I'm just going to put these in. Next is going to be the characteristic marking. It has the same rules as these colors, so it can be either the mothers, the fathers, or a mix of the two, if they both share the marking. So Sunspot here doesn't have a characteristic marking, but this guy does, and it is a dominant marking. It has two capital A's here, so all of his Mwits are going to be showing that fade. So I'm just going to put this in really quick. I will have to update this once we get more characteristic markings. I'm not entirely sure how they're going to pass down at the moment, if the parents have two different markings, so we will see. Now we're going to start with the actual markings here. So this pair is super easy, like I said, all dominant markings and none of them are shared. So you're going to start with the female's first marking. I'm just going to copy and paste this into the custom generator. It's going to be in slot 1. And then you're going to go to the male, and you're going to do his first marking. In Mwits, the opacity can vary by 10% in either direction. So his Mwits, for example, their fox could be anywhere from 80% to 100%. Just to keep things easy though, I'm just going to go with the same opacity as what the parents have. So next we're going to go to the second markings. So females go first. We're going to do her second marking first. And then we're going to do the male's second marking. And then you just keep going back and forth like that between the female and the male. Once you have all your markings in there, just hit preview, and then this is going to show you what the Mwit will look like. And another possibility is, of course, the Earth, so they could also look like this. Now, my next pair, I'm going to clear out the generator. My next pair also has all dominant markings, but they have a shared marking. So, as you can see, my girl in Rush has Siamese right here in her third slot. And then this guy has Siamese too, but it's in his first slot. So when we are predicting, the female's slot is what matters. And hopefully that makes sense, but I will show you how to do this. So just like before, I'm just going to do this really quick and not worry about mixing. Going to do their base and secondary and all that good stuff. So this could be either an air or a fire. There's also a very low chance that it could be a lightning. Let's do air first. So let's see if they have characteristic markings first. And neither of them do, so we can just skip that part. So we're going to start with the female as usual. I'm going to start with her centered. And then next is the male's Siamese. However, since the female has Siamese as well, we are actually going to skip the male's Siamese slot. So I'm actually just going to ignore that now, and I'm going to go straight to the female's second marking. And now I'm going to do the male's second marking. I've never done a prediction for most of these pairs, so I have no idea if it's even going to look good. So now we have come to the female's Siamese. This is when we're going to put it in. Since the marking is shared, it's going to be a mixed color. When you're doing the markings, if they share a marking, that color is always going to mix. And they both have 100% Siamese. So I'm just going to go with 100%. And so that was the female's third marking. Now I go to the male's third marking. And lastly, the female's fourth marking. And the male doesn't have any more markings, so that is where we stop. I'll hit preview, and this is what it would look like. It could also be a fire, and there's a very low chance that it could be a lightning. There's also a very helpful guide by Kiyi that covers some of this stuff if you're not sure about what breeds are compatible. They have a little guide on the compatible breeds. So right here. So just look up what breed you're trying to do. Another helpful section in this topic is going to be these Punnett squares all the way up here, because our next pair has some recessive markings. So let me clear that out again. So I've got this girl and this boy. They both have spotted tabby, which is a recessive marking. As you can see, they have two little lowercase a's here. And that is what a recessive marking needs in order to show. If you're not sure what markings are recessive, you can just look in the custom generator. Anything with this R beside it means that it's a recessive marking. Since these are both customs that both show the recessive marking, all of their babies are going to show it too. So they both have the two lowercase a's. If you go to Chickadee's topic and look under recessive markings, you can see this Punnett square here. It has the two lowercase a's, and all the babies are going to have the two lowercase a's, so they will all show that spotted tabby. So let's see what their babies are going to look like. We have a water and an air, which are compatible breeds. So let's go with water first. There is also a small chance that it could be an ice. So we're going to start with the female's first marking as usual. And we're going to go back and forth here. And now we've got the spotted tabby. Since it's a shared marking, the color is going to blend. So I'm going to do that really quick. So the opacity on my girl is 80%. And then on this guy we have 50%. So the spotted tabby could be anywhere in that range. It could actually go down to 40%, or it could be as high as 90%. So I'm just going to choose something sort of in the middle. So I could do like 60 or 70%. Let's do 70. So that was the female's second marking. Now we have to do the male's second marking. And now the male's last marking is spotted tabby, which we already did, so we are not going to put that in again. So that is where we stop. I totally forgot to put in the base color and everything. And of course we don't want to forget that characteristic marking. Hit preview. That's what those babies would look like. It's kind of cool. It's kind of a hot mess, but I kind of like it. So that one could be either an air, or it could be a water. And there's also a very low chance that it could be an ice. So Mwit predictions are really best to do just for customs. As you get into the higher generation Moyors, there's a lot of variability in what the Mwits can look like because you aren't exactly sure which markings are going to carry down. So my next pair is a couple of higher generation moires. The only marking they have that is sure to pass down is this girl's characteristic fade. All the other markings have a chance of being passed down, but there's no guarantee. Some of them won't actually show. This candle flame tabby isn't going to show because the boy doesn't carry it. And this ocelot also is not going to show on any mwits because the female doesn't have ocelot. All the other markings have a 50-50 chance of passing down though, other than the marbled, which is a shared marking. And there is a 25% chance that the mwit is going to show the marbled. Just to show you the process though, I'm going to predict the mwit as if it's going to actually have all the possible markings that it could show. But of course, if you aren't sure about the chances you have of each marking passing down, always check this guide, it's very helpful. So I'm going to start by just putting all of the markings in. So I'm going to start out with my base and those things. And this one is going to be an air. And this is the only marking that is 100% guaranteed to show on the mwits. It's that fade. So I'm going to go through starting with the female's first marking. The male's first marking is marbled. Since the female also has it in a later slot, we are going to just skip it. So we're going to go to her second marking. And then his second marking is the ocelot, which is not going to show. The candle flame tabby, like I said, is not going to show, so I'm going to skip that. And now we're on to the marbled. So the girl has the blue marbled, the boy has starry marbled, so when one of them is a pattern like that, there's just a 50-50 chance of either getting the pattern or the color. And then they have a pretty big range for their opacity. His is 90%, so we could go up to 100. Hers is 40, so it could go down to 30%. We'll say like 60. Let's do 60% for the marbled. The generator has this weird glitch where sometimes you'll put the color in and it won't change it like it's supposed to. And what it actually does is for some reason it will change the color in a different spot. So if I put a color in there, you can see it changed the tertiary. So when that happens, I'm just going to change the tertiary back to what it's supposed to be. And then I'm just going to type in the color there. And I'm not going to click it. And on to the next marking. Okay, so this is what the Mwit could look like if it got every single marking. The chances of that happening are super low though. It could have maybe the male's base color and the starry marbled. So of course the Mwit isn't going to get all of those markings most likely. So most of them, all of them I think other than that marbled, there's a 50-50 chance of them passing down because they're all dominant markings with one capital A and one lowercase a. So I can just go through and I could get rid of like every other marking. But I'm going to leave that marbled there even though there's a smaller chance of it getting the marbled. Because I just like marbled. So we'll pretend that he's going to get it. So I got rid of about half the markings. And that's another possibility we could get. So it can be fun to play around with, but there are a ton of possibilities when you're doing higher generation Moyors. And that brings us to the last thing I want to show you guys, which is this website, which was made by Kiyi. I don't know how to say their name. They are number 238 on Moyor, and they actually made this little Mwit predictor, and it's really cool. It doesn't have a lot of the newer markings. I don't know how active they are, so I don't know if it's going to be updated at all or anytime soon. But as long as your Moyor doesn't have any new markings, you can predict it just fine. So I'm just going to plug these two in and we'll see what else we can get. So the Moyor acting as a female, she's an heir. I'm just going to copy and paste everything in. For Moyors that have a lot of markings, it's going to take a while. It does not have the characteristic markings, or marking, there's only one at the moment. So I'm going to say that she has 8 markings. And you're just going to copy it in exactly as it is on the Moyor. Now we'll do the male. Even if you know that the Mwit isn't going to show a marking, such as this ocelot, make sure that you still put it in there because it is going to affect the marking layering. So you just hit predict and it's going to show you one of the possible Mwits, and it's going to show you all of the markings that passed down, what color they are, opacity, all that good stuff, and you can just do it as many times as you want. It's a super cool little thing. It looks like upper side is cut off at the top there. From what I can tell, it's mostly accurate. So it also say that the father was a fire. If we keep going, it knows the possible hybrid Moyors that you can get too. So say that we did a lightning and an ice. There's a 5% chance that it could be an air. So let's see if it'll give us an air. There you go. It's pretty cool. So I hope you liked this video. I hope it helps you learn how to predict your Mwits a little bit better, and I will see you guys later.